Afternoon, everybody. Welcome here to the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. And we will begin our media availabilities here for the Busch Light Clash at the Coliseum by talking about Auto Club Speedway and the upcoming Pala Casino 400 weekend, historic weekend, the final weekend on the 2-mile oval in Fontana, California, starting off on February 25th with the Production Alliance Group 300 and practice and qualifying for the Pala Casino 400, and on Sunday, February 26th, the final go-around on that 2-mile oval. Dave, I know you're hard at work over in there at Fontana right now. Talk about all the preparations going into this historic final race weekend on that 2-mile oval.
Yeah, it's a little bittersweet, obviously, with the last race on the 2-mile track, but the team's working super hard. You know, Pala Casino that you mentioned, Fred and his entire team over there at Pala Casino they've really stepped up. Helped us, promote in the race here in Market, and looking forward to working with them. But the 5 wide and handsome, the fast place, and a little bit of roughness will be in full play on February 26th, and I think we're just excited to have the Cup Series back in town, and obviously kicking off the West Coast swing here at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum with the Clash is something that's really second to none. You know, in a marketplace that's this large and so important to our sport as a whole. So looking forward to seeing the drivers go wheel to wheel, bumper to bumper, door to door here, and then open it up and go 5 wide at Auto Club Speedway.
Awesome, and we are also joined by A.J. Allmendinger, who's back in the NASCAR Cup Series full-time this year with Colleague Racing. Also the driver who has experience on that 2-mile oval in multiple disciplines, in Indy cars and also NASCAR. So what are your thoughts for this final go-around on the 2-mile oval?
Well, I can tell you for sure the wall hurts in both cars. So, unfortunately, I've experienced that. But, yeah, I mean, I agree. It's bittersweet. It's a racetrack. I felt like, over my time that I've raced there, it seemed like, as it aged, the racing just got super good there. And I think as drivers, we all love it because it wears the tires out. You're slipping and sliding around. It's multiple groove where you're running on the apron there. And it just puts on great racing. And, I think all of us have thoroughly enjoyed it, especially really feel like the last 10 years, all of a sudden it just kind of flipped where we just put on such great finishes there. And it's one of those racetracks where you understand that something's got to change because the pavement's so old, and eventually you either repave it and the great racing goes away, or you reconfigure it and try something new. But it's a place that I think if you poll all the drivers, we really love it. And, looking forward. I didn't get to run it there last year in the Cup car. And I ran it on the simulator and realized I probably can't eat lunch before the race because it was trying to move my insides around. It's so bumpy down the back straightaway. But, it's character like that on racetracks that make it really good. So, yeah, hopefully we can have a really strong run there. And at least if I win, could I have, like, some of the pavement or something, just half the racetrack or something, just load it up in the hauler?
We can make that happen.
All right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Not a problem.
Awesome. We're going to open up the floor for questions. If you have a question, raise your hand. Gabriella here will get a wireless microphone to you. We're going to start with Bob Pockrass.
So just to reiterate your question here, if nobody heard it, but the plan is still to make our best efforts towards a half mile. Timeline is still yet to be determined. As we work through it this year, hopefully we'll have a lot of cool announcements and milestones that we need to hit. So it just takes some time here to make sure we get it right and build the most state-of-the-art short track that's ever been built.
Okay. Go next to Kevin.
Hi, Kevin Baxter, LA Times. Dave, when you look at some of the things going on here with all the concerts and things in addition to the race, Chicago talked about they're going to have 2 races but 4 concerts. Is it getting to the point where NASCAR, the racing, is not enough? I mean, you look at your track going to the smaller track, probably accommodate other things as well. Are we at that point now?
Well, I think we've been at that. We've been at a point where entertainment is our business. It's not just the race. The race is the most important piece, and what these drivers do on track is what the memories are generated and people leave thinking about. So, what Julie and her team are doing in Chicago obviously is a blend of both. We've all been doing that to a certain extent. You know, A-list talent, B-list talent. You know, bands that you know. It's an integration of everything, not just the music, but all the things that come with it, the food and different atmospheres that the partners are bringing into our racetrack. So it's important for us to stay diversified and provide entertainment areas for people to have fun on race day all day long. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's, we live in a day and age now where I feel like we get bored super easy, and you come to events like this, for all ages, male, female, you have to have entertainment or something to go do. At the end of the day, yeah, the race is probably still the most important thing, and that's why we're all here. But I grew up in the open wheel age. When we were in Champ Car, we were street course racing a lot, and we always said that the race was just kind of almost in a way secondary to the party, and you got to make it an atmosphere. And that's what these cup races should be. I mean, we go to these racetracks, and I know sometimes it's hard when you go to a place twice in a 3-month or 4-month period, but we got to make all these races entertaining for all ages and gender and everything, because that's what it's all about. And, what places like this and what we're doing with Chicago at the street course and all these races, we got to make it fun for people to show up and want to be there and have entertainment throughout the whole weekend. And if you do that, I think you get more people that show up and more people that want to tune in on TV when they're not there. So I love what we're doing. I mean, this kind of new age of NASCAR with entertainment and all that is what we need to kind of keep building the sport.
We're going to go to Jeff, then to Greg, and then to Jordan, and then to Zach.
Hi, Dave. In the LA Times, it was saying that there's a possibility, or at least being speculated, that it might take at least a year, maybe 2 years to get the project done, and there wouldn't be a race there during that time. Is that? I know you said you were still working through the timeline, but is that a possibility that there wouldn't be? It would take so long that wouldn't be done in time.
No, that's a good question, Jeff. And good to see you, by the way. It unfortunately in 24, with the most aggressive timelines, we will not race in 24 on the new track. So, what that timeline is beyond that still has yet to be determined. And there's just milestones and things that we need to get through, and not least of which is the design of the racetrack. We're still working on that. There's been a lot of iterations of what we're designing, both on track and off track with the new facility, and it'll be really exciting to get to a point where we can share that, because what we're working on is really exciting. The fact that we raced at a half mile at Martinsville and a half mile at Bristol. It'll be cool to have another half mile, especially out here on the West Coast with so much racing history here. So we're looking forward to it, and looking forward to getting to a point where we can share that information and get a little more excited about it.
Go next to Greg.
Hey, Dave. Greg from Forbes. I'm curious. Obviously, you didn't have a race during the pandemic, and you can't, you didn't have crowds. However, when you look at this event last year, as opposed to ticket sales before we were having this out here, do you think it was a definite bump? And how do you keep this momentum from this event carried over to your event to put more butts in the seats out there?
I appreciate your question. It definitely momentum boost. I mean, the fact that we are in downtown LA, in the number 2 DMA in the country, the number 1 market that NASCAR visits. There's a lot of race fans here. A lot of people forget the racing history is just immense here. The fact that they were racing midgets here at this place in the 40s. The dirt tracks, I think at one point there were more racetracks here per capita than any other place in the world. Obviously, we've grown up a lot, and there's a lot of things to do around here in Southern California, but racing and motorsports is one of them. And I think, from the excitement that our company has and the the energy around what we're looking at doing in the next chapter of what Auto Club Speedway is a testament to the fact that we understand the importance of this market, not only to us as a company, as NASCAR, but also to the teams and the partners that are associated with the teams, the media partners. It's a very important marketplace. So, change is hard sometimes, but I'm confident that this is going to be a change that is exciting for everybody and is going to be a heck of an entertainment venue, for us in the future.
Go to Jordan, then to Zach, and then to Dustin.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. I just want to make sure I have this right. There will not be a race at any point in 24 at Auto Club Speedway?
That's correct, Jordan.
And is there a possibility that it could not be a race in 25 as well, depending on the timeline?
It's possible. It just depends on timeline and where things go from that.
And then there is a future for Auto Club Speedway on the NASCAR schedule, correct? It's not going to be, couldn't be sold or anything like that, or?
No, we're all momentum is headed towards building a half-mile track. So we're looking forward to that next chapter. Yeah.
Go next to Zach.
Zach Sterniolo with NASCAR.com. This one's for AJ, and shifting gears quite a bit here. You're obviously back in the car full-time this season. Where do you set expectations for yourself? I know there's been a lot of talk already kind of placing you as a potential playoff threat. Do you see that as a possibility for you this year? And what's the excitement level coming back to Cup full-time?
I look at our organization, you go through our shop. We still got to remember we're just a second-year Cup team. If you look at the utmost potential, we can be a threat of making the playoffs and then getting in the playoffs and having strong runs. And, the way the format is, you just got to keep staying in it, right? So, but the Cup racing is the best of the best and tough, some of the toughest in the world. So, I think it comes down to just trying to keep getting better every weekend. And, that's a bit cliche-ish, but I always look at the start of the year is we go to a lot of different racetracks between super speedways and 1.5 miles and 2 miles and short tracks and road courses. Once you get to like 7-8 week of the season, you kind of see at all types of racetracks, okay, this is where we're good, this is where we're not good, and we got to keep working on it. So I don't really try to look at setting expectations. You go with the mindset every weekend to go win the race. If you don't, then you shouldn't be at the racetrack. But there's certain weekends where a 15th place finish is a win, and there's other weekends where you got a shot to win, you go take advantage of it. So, that's a sliding scale and a moving scale as the year goes on. But, with the potential there, we can do some great things. If I didn't think we could, I would never have decided to come back Cup racing. I love driving these cars. I like the unique schedule that NASCAR goes to now. And, that we can go do great things, but we got to take it step by step. So it's not about saying, top 10 or top 8 or top 6 or anything like that. But we can go do great things if we live up to it. But it's early in the year, and we'll see kind of where we lay out after 8th, 9th race, and we'll make a decision from there.
Okay, we're going to wrap here with Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Dave, we've seen some designs, or there have been some designs that have kind of been presented, or images presented of what the short track would be like. So when you talk about you're still working on designs, can you explain what's still being worked on and why it is at this point, please?
Well, there's a lot of pieces to that, and what you have seen are very rudimentary, baseline stuff, and through the process of what we have to work through the county, sometimes that stuff comes out. But there's a lot of things from a fan element that we're working on, whether it be the clubs, the fan interaction type areas, the garage areas, the track itself, trying to figure out what makes the most sense, the way we're building the grandstands. So there's a lot of pieces that factor into the overall experience, and honestly getting input from other people and other parties. We're not doing this in a vacuum and thinking I'm definitely not the expert. There's other experts in the room that have a lot to say about it. So I think we just want to make sure we get it right. I mean, the cool thing is we can model racetracks these days, like you mentioned there with the simulator. So we can kind of figure out how things race and how many grooves there are and what the racing is going to be like. But the fan experience beyond the racetrack is just as important, if not more important, to make sure that they're comfortable being there.
And one last thing is about the track. Obviously, there's a already a short track, high bank track. There's a short track, flat track. So what are you looking at or envisioning? And I'm guessing you're not wanting to repeat something like that, wanting to make it stand out on its own. So what might this track be like? Is it going to have left and right-hand corners or something? What are you going to do?
Yeah, a chicane in the backstretch. No, we want it to be different. We're in LA. We're different. I'm a California kid. This is a California kid. We're a little
yeah,
off.
we're
We're a
different.
little off.
Yeah.
It has to make a statement. And making sure that we have a racetrack that is unique to itself here and different than any of the other tracks that they go to is very important. But having said that, it's equally important, like I just said, to make sure that the fan experience part is unique and really has a mark to its own here for the LA market. Yeah, you're welcome. Good to see you, Dustin.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for taking the time, and I look forward to seeing you both at the end of the month here in Fontana, California. At
Matt, you're doing a heck of a job. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Matt Humphrey, everybody.
Does he pay for that? Yeah.
He will later.